Hello everyone, Pulse here to bring you some more World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor discussion. In this video, we're going to focus on the new level cap increase provided with Warlords of Draenor, Blizzard's current decision to stagger Flight's introduction into the world that is Draenor, and finally we're going to take a peek at the new character models being introduced with the next expansion. But first, let's briefly go over the level 100 cap being introduced with the expansion's release. Yes, WoW has finally done it. We've hit triple digits on the level, and I'm seeing a lot of people worried about this change back to the 10 level increase system that was the original setup to begin with. It's just one of those things where people have gotten familiar and they feel safe in the current system of 5 level increase, and a very similar thing happened back in Cataclysm. We've seen tons of people in uproar about the decrease from 10 to 5 and that it was going to ruin the content in the leveling process, and the same is here as well. But much like back in Cataclysm, the worries are unwarranted, guys. The amount of content in between will not change. The only real reason that they're putting it back to 10 is that it better facilitates the current talent system, at least in terms of the way it looks. It's not perfect because there's a 15 level increase in between talents, but at least the 10 level increase from level 90 to 100 doesn't look nearly as weird as if they had only 5 levels in between. But more importantly, and the real reason, is that they want to provide a more stable and a more fluid sense of accomplishment during the leveling process once we've gotten onto Draenor. It's really this shift in perspective for the player, and mostly it's a psychological implementation. And it definitely works for a large number of players. It doesn't personally work for me, but there's definitely some logic here. There's definitely a large pool of data that shows that people like to earn stuff. If that wasn't obvious, now you know. People like to earn stuff. So a good example is in the 5 level system of the Pandaria. You have maybe enough time to sit down and you can gain half a level. You've got like an hour or something. Now in the new system, or the old system repurposed, I suppose, you would have instead that same amount of experience would have equated to a full level. So maybe in your hour of game time you would have instead had a full level to earn, and you can get up from your computer and go, I got something done. That's really all it is to provide that sense of accomplishment in your game time availability. That's really all it is. It's mostly mind games. So if you're worried about the content changing or extra filler content like collect 20,000 bear asses on your adventure through Draenor, you're not going to get that. It's going to be the same amount of stuff. So no need to worries, guys. It's only a number and psychological thing. But that brings us to the ability to fly, which is also kind of this psychological thing. But more importantly, it's about Blizzard's stance on flying in this next expansion. So for those who may not have heard, Blizzard has recently said that they are very much in the mindset that introducing flight later in the expansion rather than sooner is in the best interests of the game, and they are currently planning to keep flying out of Draenor, out of the game, until the first major patch, which would be 6.1. So let's get into this just a tiny bit. I don't want to talk about this too much because there's already a ton of opinions flying all over the place, and every person's is dramatically different from the last, so I don't want to go crazy dissecting all of those, but I did want to throw my thoughts out on the thing. So first, I need to give a nod of thanks to Blizzard for taking the stance on flight. Now, if you've watched any of my other MMO content on the channel, you probably know that I have this pretty nasty distaste for flight and what it can do to the MMO experience, to the RPG experience. And it's not so much that I hate the mechanic of flight, or even that it's an efficient form of travel, but it's just the way that flying can wreck any sense of scale and immersion that the game world had, and what the developers deliberately put into the world itself. It just wrecks that. Plus, it doesn't provide anything interesting in terms of gameplay. In actuality, it detracts from the gameplay experience by letting you fly up, go down, fly up, go down. You don't actually interact with the world itself. You just pick where you want to go, do the thing, fly up in the air, and ignore everything else. Of course, it's efficient, and that's why people are bitching, but it doesn't actually do anything for the game itself. Now, Blizzard has made it abundantly clear that they feel this way also, and as such they want to delay flying for as long as possible. And honestly, the only real reason I foresee them actually keeping it and not removing the damn feature is because with Burning Crusade, it looked like it was going to be this successful mechanic, and it worked in Burning Crusade. It worked in Outland, and it just kind of stuck around, and then it was in Wrath, and then through Cataclysm. And as you see, the world design has changed around the mechanic that is flight, and it's just got to this point where now it's here. We can't just remove it. We've had it for so long now. Now, I think this is a great call, doing the sort of delay of sorts. I get a lot of people are mad about it, but honestly, much like the mythic rating changes and the rating tier stuff and the removing of reforging and all of that stuff, this is going to be better for the game as a whole. There's always going to be those crazy outliers that scream to the heavens that they're going to quit the game and they're going to burn down Blizzard headquarters if they don't put flight back in the game and that similar kind of stuff. But there's going to be some growing pains. We'll get over it. If you're really attached to your flying mount, honestly, just try to think logically about it, and in the long run, this will be for the best. You'll get your flight back after one patch. I think you can live that long, and until that time comes, you will have experienced the game as the developer wants you to, which I think is fine. If the developer wants you to experience their game as they intended it to, that is their artistic license. They can do whatever the hell they want with it. If you have an issue with that, and that is really, if you're that attached, you probably don't want to play this game anyway, honestly. But that's it for flight. I don't want to go too crazy with this. If you are interested in knowing more about this and maybe the different opinions, just check out any WoW-based blog or video source or much of anything where people talk about WoW, and you'll see a metric ton of discussion on this stupid-ass topic. It's honestly irrelevant to me, and luckily there's a lot of logical takes and approaches to the flight and discussing why Blizzard is taking this, and not so many journalists in particular taking side with the flaming hate vocal minority crowd. So I'm glad to see that. But if you are interested in knowing more in terms of the different opinions, just Google it. I'm sure you'll find something within milliseconds. But let's move on to potentially the most exciting part of this episode, and that is the new models. Thank you, Azeroth Jesus, it's been a long time coming. Finally, vanilla player models are getting changed, and quite drastically as well. Now, we don't have all the races to take a look at, but Blizzard did show off a substantial amount of the orcs and dwarves, and they've also got some looks at the gnomes, and I know that the undead, at least the female, has had some information come out on that. But there's a lot of stuff to look at, and even though it's not all animated in video form or in game form, it does look fantastic, and as I said, it's long overdue. I'm very much looking forward to how my orc shaman will come out looking with the release of Warlords. Now, I need to fix something now that I've thought about it. I said vanilla models are going to get fixed in Warlords of Draenor, but that's not quite correct, because Blizzard did clarify that right now, in the current, they are ass deep in updating the models, textures, and animations, and bone structure, and all of that stuff that goes along with the vanilla models. But Blood Elves and Draenei will be done also. They absolutely will be done. Perhaps not at launch, but getting those two races updated are fairly important for them to do right now. Now, I really hope that somehow they're able to get these done by release, specifically the Draenei, because the Draenei are going to play a major part in this expansion, and I just think it would be kind of weird for this race to get a lot of lore background and face time, and then have them be one of the ugliest races in terms of how old they are. It would just be weird, right? We'd have the really nice looking orcs highlighted on one side, and the Draenei being highlighted as well. And I can just see it now. The Alliance would be like, oh my god, so much horde favoritism. They gave the orcs, which are a pillar for their storyline, new animations and new models, while our Draenei still get to look like shitty old putty things or something. So I'm sure that's going to happen. So I really hope that they get the models done. But so far, I'm really happy. I'm glad that they finally bit the bullet and did it, because I know it is a ton of work, an absolute shit ton of work. But I think it will do well. I think this was the right call. Don't give us another race. Don't give us another class. Do the models, because right now the game is in a stable place. I think we can handle one expansion without another race or another class to deal with. We can live with having brand new models that look really awesome and fit the new world, as it were. But I think that's going to do it for me on this Warlords of Draenor discussion. I don't think I've missed anything. I don't think so, but if I did, make sure to throw it down in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and comment down below, again, on anything discussed today, anything WoW or MMO or gaming in general, really. Just whatever you're thinking about, honestly, throw it down there and I will discuss it with you. But thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.